What is up, everyone? It is the 12th of May 2016, and today I'm going to be filming quite a milestone sort of video. I'm going to be dismantling my main setup and pretty much all of the geeky elements of IMNC HQ Mark 1 today, packing it into boxes and hopefully, if I've got enough time, transporting the majority of it down to the new place where we can then in the next video do the next part of the office setup video where I put it all up in a brand new way, in a brand new environment, and start all over again. But before any of that, before we take any of this down or rip any of it apart, I just wanted to sit here one more time and chat to the camera. Now, I haven't set up my microphone, I haven't set up my lighting in the way that I normally do, I haven't even, finalised my angle or whatever, I've just thrown it all up for a little bit of old-fashioned IMNC goodness, because it's going to be not hard to do this because I've been, planning my new office for such a long time and looking forward to it. But it's definitely going to be an interesting experience and maybe a little bit emotional for me because IMNC HQ Mark 1, this room, my bedroom, the bedroom I've had since I was 11 years old, this is where 99.99% of the videos have been made. This is where the channel was born. And I want to just express that even though YouTube is now, every day is getting more and more part of my job, it's getting more and more intertwined with my business, I want to express to people that I have not forgotten that when I begun this YouTube thing, it was a magical hobby. And even though I am now an adult and I've got adult worries and I've got Eli and everything and a family and all that kind of thing to worry about, so my brain is much more consumed than it was when I was a kid, I still haven't lost that little spark where I remember that YouTube and IMNC is a truly magical hobby. And it's just as a little bit of a description as to how some things used to work here, and that when I think back to this room, even though I'm still here at the moment, but when I think back to this room and the best times and how things were, it was when I'd come home from school and I was working on a project. This project could be really big, really small, or really big back, for back then, which could have been a couple of Power Mac upgrades or something. I'd come home from school and I'd come up here and I'd start tinkering away at whatever I was tinkering with, get out my old Panasonic camcorder, start filming, and it was just magical. I was learning, YouTube as a platform was still evolving, and things were very different back then. And I am so glad that I have those memories, and not just those memories, I'm so glad that I have those videos to look back on. And I think even though the new office is going to be much more functional, it's going to be much more thought out, much more streamlined, and I will ultimately be able to make better content there thanks to all of those things. I think ultimately that this will always be the special place because this is where it started. And even though I always try and have as much personality as I can in my videos, those videos that I made when I was a kid, they're the most personality that you're going to get. Because I was a kid, it was magical. And when you're an adult, you can be so magical still. I've got so much hype behind the stuff that I do. As you guys know, some of the things I do these days, people say, this is your best video ever. And I love that. But for the nostalgic kind of, this is where IMNC begun sort of vibe, those early videos shot here, when I had the G5, when I had the Mac Pro, when I had the Dell 2009W monitor, or even before then, before the room was like this, when I had that desk setup there with the bed above it and the gaming setup over there and all those retro consoles. And yeah, I've got so many wonderful memories that I will cherish forever, because as ridiculous as it sounds, some people think, man, that's Tom, he just plays with nerdy computer things in his bedroom, what the hell is, how can you get attached to that? But it's something that I've done for so long now, something that I am attached to, and this place plays a massive part in that, and it always will. I think I will always carry a little chunk of this room with me when I'm making my It's My Natural Colour videos. So that's it for my rambling at the beginning of this video. I have got the beginnings with this cardboard box here, the first cardboard box, and we are literally going to begin packing my setup into cardboard boxes or plastic boxes or whatever storage containers I have to take down to the new place. But before we do that, we're just going to hopefully, if I remember, take one last look around IMNC HQ. I recorded a couple of pan shots of IMNC HQ just as it was before moving. Just before moving, I may have started to pack a few things up, but this is the last way the IMNC HQ last way it stood, sorry, with all of my sort of half done things, half done projects. And I'm not looking at the footage right now like you guys are, so I can't describe things, but that's just a little sneak peek, well, not a sneak peek, but a little reveal of what IMNC HQ was looking like just before I moved, because right now it is kind of stripped a little bit bare. The setup is still fully functional, but it's kind of stripped away back to a sort of lesser kind of setup. So yeah, I'm basically gonna screw a new head onto my shoulders, get motivated and start attacking this setup, because there's nothing that I love more than dismantling and resetting up setups, and I know you guys love it too. So stick around, say goodbye to IMNC HQ Mark 1. We will visit here again, because I'm not taking all of my other things today, the lighting equipment and stuff. We will do a random video in this room when it is empty. I think that'll be good fun, but at least for the setup portion of this video, this room, sorry, yeah, this is where it's going to be taken down. So let's do it. So I'm really sorry about the glare from the window, guys, but there's not a lot I can do about it. This is going to be pure rough around the edges video, which is basically the best kind, really. I have my MacBook out because I've just set a video to upload, a video that you guys have already seen, of course. So I need to make sure that when dismantling this setup, I'm not too rough with cables and stuff, because the Mac Mini and the switch and the router and everything are all still active on the server shelf. Now, because I don't have an internet connection at my place at the moment, the server shelf is still staying active up here, because I will need the internet connection at least for a few more days. But let's dig right in, guys. Let's start pulling cables out. And you're not going to watch me pull every single cable out. I thought I'd just give you guys a little taster as to some of the things that I was doing right at the beginning here. Because the first few steps, getting rid of the keyboard, etc., this is where it starts to sink in now. The fact that we're actually getting rid of this setup is pretty mega. Keyboard and mouse are gone already. It's a surprisingly quick process, folks. Surprisingly quick. Now I've got my battery charger for my camera still sitting there, because it's charging up batteries so that I don't run out of juice while filming this video, but that's okay. A few little elements are staying. Now what I'm doing is just dumping all of the smaller stuff on the other desk for now. It's going to be more work later, but I'm going to try and get the bulk of this done, get the displays and everything out of the way. I can worry about the smaller stuff later, because it can all just be chucked into a box, really, because it's only moving down the road and I'm not, posting it or anything crazy like that. I don't have to be super careful, which is quite handy in a way. But I am going to give things a good dust at this end, and also a little bit of a dust at that end as well, because things are looking pretty grimy on this setup at the moment. So a lot of cabling comes from the mixer, a lot of audio cables and stuff on this setup. So let's get the mixer out of the way and at least everything unplugged from it, so that it's easier to get rid of the cables. Because if I can start dismantling from this end, I think we're sort of onto a winner then. And also, this is sort of one of the biggest items that I'll be putting into its own box. Or maybe not even boxing it up, it depends how well we can pack things, I guess. But yeah, there's the mixer. That's as easy as it is. It'll have more things plugged into it on the new setup, of course. This is such a beast, guys. What a lovely piece of kit. So I am stacking stuff that is ready to go behind the tripod, of course. And might as well continue with the audio gear. Get rid of this display. As you guys can see, that is when it really hits home. When you take one of the displays off, that is when stuff starts to get pretty bare. But it's okay. Now what I'm doing is, because I get confused with what transformer is what, I'm leaving everything that has a transformer plugged in at the moment so I don't lose track. I really don't want to lose track. But this has a kettle lead, so this can get unplugged straight away. Which is all good. My compressor. So that'll stay there for now. Let's keep chugging away. We've got the next monitor. Oh my gosh. This is coming apart a little bit too quick for my liking, but it's all progress, guys. Center monitor. Oh, we're getting less and less. What do we have over here? A nice bit of horrible glare. I think I need to clean my lens. Classic me. Right then, we have our USB 3. Of course, that has a transformer, so I need to keep that in check. But third and final monitor. Here it is. Da 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 da. Now that didn't take long, but of course the long part is the cabling. But before then, we do have a couple more exciting things that we can do. First of all, let's go a little bit lower and take a look at my Hackintosh. Of course, one thing that is going to be greatly improved about my new setup is this will no longer be a problem. This has always been a problem when having desktop computers here. Sometimes it's been a little tidier than... I think this is probably the worst it's been in terms of messiness. By the way, this is an anti-static wrist strap that I never use. Yeah, this is the worst it's been in terms of actual mess, but it's always been a bit of an eyesore. So the fact that my desktop tower is now actually going to be facing a sort of more conventional direction, it's actually going to look a lot cleaner, which is nice. Cabling in general on the new setup is going to hopefully be 10 times better. I think I might be being slightly over ambitious as to how tidy it's going to be, because I do forget how many cables goes into making this setup possible. But with a couple of tactics, a few of which I spoke about in the last Office video in part 2, with a couple of tactics I hope that I can make things kind of a little bit more streamlined. Now this is actually a PowerBook charger, PowerBook 12 inch, so I don't want that to get in the way. We don't need him at the moment. But that's the Hackintosh totally unplugged, so we can now move this out of the way. And it is now pretty much, bar a few things, just cabling left to focus on, which is definitely not going to be very fun. So as you guys know from my Ultimate Desk Setup project, I have 2 towers of power back there. The one with the power line adapter on it needs to stay on. That's all the networking stuff. The other one is currently off, and it can stay off. So what I plan on doing is unplugging everything from the power tower, then getting the tower itself out of the way, hopefully, although that may not be possible because they were the first things that I put down there in terms of cabling. But everything that isn't a transformer, I'll get rid of the cable, then I'll start tackling transformers and their devices and taping them together. Because, as I said, I keep getting them mixed up, so let's go for it. Getting this subwoofer out the way will really help things, because I'll have as much room to work under here as possible. It's actually a little bit of an emotional, ordeal taking this sound system away. I've had this since day one. Ever since I've had a setup in my room, I've used that sound system, and I've only grown to like it more over time. You'd think with a cheap system, well, it's not cheap, it's creative, you know, but you'd think with a system like that, as my ears got more mature and I got listening to more and more systems, you'd think I would like it less. But no, it was totally the opposite. I've always loved the sound of that system. Right then, folks, this is a rat's nest. A rat's nest that I've just got to sort. A lovely little bit of progress, guys. Really getting there. I've already taken out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kettle leads, which is crazy. 3 monitors, mixer, compressor, and the Hackintosh. 2 XLRs. Can't take the third out because it's still on the mic. That's something we'll address in a minute. 2 insert cables for the compressor and the transformer and inverter or whatever the heck that thing is for the LED system. Now it's going to slow down a bit as I faff with smaller cables, and of course I've done the speakers, but they're not coming with me, so they're done. And I've done that PDU, the rack mount one that I had crammed behind the power hack. Yeah, get in there. So I've made a start with the actual packing. This box is quite scary. It's got loads of data in it. It's got all of my archive drivers down the bottom in the green cases there. Also my iTunes library drive, which is currently about 4.5 months out of date for a backup. The last backup was about 4.5 months ago. And then here we have this box, just getting started with some of the bigger stuff in. So yeah, really get in there. I'm just bringing all cables down. It's not necessarily things that are going on the setup. It's just everything that I find, really. So that's something. But yeah, this next part is going to definitely be the worst, all these smaller cables. So I believe that I've got the majority of the cabling out. I've put it all in this box as well. Now it's really difficult to tell what's what for the server shelf and that. And I will be taking this today probably, so just so I can make a start on my rack really and figure things out. But yeah, I believe the remaining cables are for the networking stuff, apart from this big blue XLR obviously. I've got the majority of it, I think. So that is how this is going to stay until I am 100% sure that I have internet in my new place and that it's reliable. So that's my Intel Mac Mini, my 8-port gigabit switch, my router, or should I say mum and dad's router, and my 2TB external backup drive, which is constantly imaging the Mac Mini just in case, because the Mac Mini is where I ultimately store the videos these days, the compressed ones at least, so they're my most usable ones most of the time, or at least it's been like that, but that'll all change when I have a NAS, because the NAS will be able to host all of my videos in full quality, so that I can access them whenever. So of course that means I've got that out and the microphone is gone, and that is pretty much it. So I've even ripped apart the test bench, and the majority of the leads are indeed in the boxes. I've decided to take most of my external drives, most of everything really. Yeah, I'm about ready to start packing up the car. I'm going to get the Doom PC in first, followed by the Hackintosh. And then, yeah, and then some more stuff, I guess. This has actually taken a lot less time than I thought it would. 14:23. I've been going about 2.5 hours, so not too bad at all, guys. So there we have it, folks. That is how we are looking right now. I couldn't squeeze in this 24-inch monitor. That's no big deal. I got a TV down there that I can use for now. Yeah, I've taken the two main systems and pretty much everything bar the networking stuff there, and I've even taken some of that. So this is it. Empty setup. Of course this room is still pretty full with lots of other things, but yeah, that'll come in the future, and obviously there'll be videos revolving around all of that, but this is just the setup how it stands now. And yeah, I guess it's not even really called a setup anymore, considering the fact that there's no gear on it. But yeah, it's surprising how massive this desk looks when there's no monitors on it. It's a really nice big desk. Yeah, I'm going to miss this. I'm really going to miss this desk. But yeah. So I'm sweating a bit now, but I'm still going to do the outro this end, I think. I think it would be cool to do the outro here as well. So maybe bar a couple of little snippets in the future, maybe just in vlogs and stuff. I don't know if there's going to be another dedicated video. I'm really not too sure, but whoops, nearly fell over that. But yeah, whatever happens, folks, there'll be something else up here. So that is that. Just within the blink of an eye, it got set down. The pace was incredibly fast. So yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one, which I think is going to be part 3 of my office setup, where we get all this gear back up and running in my new office. Yeah, pretty weird. One last look. One last look. There we go. Let's do a step back. There we have it. Wow. Crazy.